book. It was challenging, the first one.
Because he wanted to be in the place of love.
Somebody came up with the idea.
And he was 100% accurate in his prediction.
Selenium, iodine, or calcium, you don't have to know any of that stuff. All you have to be able to do is chew.
There's only one way to support healing. That's naturally. Working with natural health, principles of natural health and healing. And since we're multidimensional beings, which means that we're spiritual, energetic, mental, emotional, and also physical, there's only one way to facilitate our healing, and that's to work in all the dimensional clusters. We need to learn how to integrate the spiritual, energetic with the physical. The physical dimension is one of finiteness. The spiritual dimension represents the word infinite, as in infinite light, infinite love, infinite healing power. And since we're one with the universe, how might it be that we could connect more effectively with the source of infinite power, infinite light, infinite love, infinite healing potentials? And that's the subject of this workshop. The name of my game, actually the only name of my game, is to support you in bringing in a higher energetic loving vibration. It's amazing to me how much love there is in the universe, and yet how little love seems to manifest for the great human family that now numbers about 7 billion people. When I was born in the year 1939, there were a few more than 2 billion people on this planet, and in only 70 years, I'll be 70 in a few more days actually, there's more than 3 times that many people. And there's the potential for a huge amount of strife and friction and wars and conflicts and pain and suffering and all kinds of problems, and we barely begin to see the beginning of that as the numbers of our brethren, you know, our sisters and brothers in all the various countries of the world increase dramatically, mostly in the so-called developing countries. Now, what we're going to be doing is learning how to integrate the spiritual energies of high vibration with the physical energies of low vibration. Physical energy vibrates at a very slow vibrational level. This is intended to be a practical experience for those of you who come and join our healing circle here. And I would invite anybody who wants to participate in a healing experience to come and join our semicircle, because we're going to be doing actual hands-on work, identifying specific problems that you may have. That is, bring in a healing focus, something in which you'd like to experience a shift in your vibration so that God's healing energies can flow in. And in order to make it as practical as possible for each one here, I'm going to invite you to identify something that you'd like to bring into a healing focus. Does anyone have tightness or tension in your neck, in your upper back area, middle back area, lower back area, as in here? The whole back. Okay. Upper back and middle back and lower back. There are 5 energy families in you, and they're the same 5 energy families in your heart. They're the same 5 energy families in your bladder and in your kidneys and in your what is it? Between here and here, you've got 5 chakric, you've got 5 energy families. Did you know that? You know about the chakras, the primary chakras, the 7 primary energy centers. I'm going to invite you to think of a chakra as being as an 8-cylinder engine. And the reason that I like to use that metaphor We know something about engines. We know that engines have cylinders, and cylinders need fuel. And if the fuel lines are clogged, the engine will misfire because not all the cylinders are working as they're designed to work. And so when you think about a chakric, functional chakra, think that, well, I need to be able to have softness in the region of that energy center, because if it's hard, the high vibrational love energy can't get into that chakra, and then the chakra isn't going to function as it was designed by God to function. The chakras represent a specific type of energy, or let's use the word feeling energy. Feelings represent something that we can readily identify with. We may feel strong or we may feel weak along a gradient scale. Sometimes we're going to feel stronger, sometimes we're going to feel weaker. We may feel happy, we may feel sad along a spectrum. Sometimes we'll feel happier, sometimes we'll feel sadder. We may feel loving, we may feel not so loving, we may be afraid, we may feel fear, we may have anxiety, apprehension. We may feel open, balanced, liberated, free, and free to express whatever thoughts we're having. Or we may feel not so open, free, balanced, peaceful. In other words, we may be manifesting suppressed anger. We may have intuition that opens to the infinite wisdom of the universe, and we'll be getting the right ideas at the right time, and we'll know whether to go here or there, to be right in the right moment in order to have the experience that Spirit would have to share with us. Or we may be so blocked by seeking to resist pain that we wouldn't be open to our intuitional potentials. And I'm going through the chakras, do you know? The power chakra, the joy chakra, the love chakra, the chakra of peace, balance, and freedom, the chakra of intuition, the chakra of enthusiasm. That's 6 of the 7 chakras. The base of the spine is the chakra of that which we remember and that which we've chosen not yet to remember. The chakra of unconsciousness, the chakra that's holding energies that aren't moving and aren't flowing, and so we're going to not be able to remember those dysfunctional experiences that we've all had that we didn't want to remember. We preferred to think, it didn't happen to me. We suppress it. We repress the memories. And that energies are held in a certain part of the brain with reflected effects on the first chakra. Anybody identify with any of this? Is there anybody here who'd like to have more energy? Anybody here who'd like to feel more joy, more peace, more love, more peacefulness, even when things aren't working so well in the world, which they normally aren't? Anybody who'd like to feel more intuition, more enthusiasm, even though we're riding the waves of change, ever changing? Things get better, things get worse, better, worse. Functional, dysfunctional, like the trend lines on some of those stocks you might be looking at. Maybe those trend lines are going down. Do you feel worse when the stock market is going down? Do you feel worse when you're listening to financial news or reading reports about the collapsing the economy? Do you feel that? Is that troublesome to anybody? Yeah. Yes. And we are affected by those things when we focus on one of the 3-dimensional clusters called the physical. If we can shift our thoughts, at least part of the time, to the spiritual energetic cluster, that is the one with infinite light and love and healing potentials, do you think that the effects might be a little reduced for us? The rest of the world can worry, and we're going to be in power in joy, in love, in balance, harmony, peace, in intuition, and even in enthusiasm, because what? Have you ever heard it said that the physical dimension is one of illusion? On what basis might we say that the physical dimension is illusory? It's always changing. You look at the headlines today, you've got a slightly different set of problems than you had yesterday. And tomorrow the problems will be a calibration, the same themes perhaps over a period of several years, but in general the problems are shifting and changing every single day. And yet we tend to fixate on problem of today, this dysfunction. How could we arrive to the point where we could integrate the dimensions of the spiritual and the physical and honor the physical, because it has requirements that we have to meet, we have to acknowledge, we have to recognize, we have to honor the requirements of the physical, because in part we are physical beings. We live in a physical place called Earth with its own dimensional energies, and yet we're told that we're spiritual beings created in the image of God, no less. In other words, with the potential to have high vibrational energies. The basic system that I'm going to share with you is one of multidimensional integration, so that we can play with a new paradigm. It's not I'm either one thing or something else. I'm not either spiritual or physical. And we're even going to get rid of the concept of sin here. How could we do that? How could we release the bondage of the encumbrance of thinking, but I'm sinful, I'm created in the image of God, and yet I've fallen. I'm going to introduce you to something that I call the breath of unconditional love. And the basic premise is that God is love and only love. How about that? God is a conditional source of love, and yet dysfunctional things happen in the physical dimension. Might it be that we have false expectations and understandings about what the physical dimension is about? Might it be that we've invested heavily in what the world seems to be, and we're missing the bigger picture? Now I'm going to invite you to think of a wave. A waveform is the perfect model for our new paradigm. First one thing, then something else. First, we're going to ascend into a higher vibrational energy, and then we're going to allow ourselves to descend into a lower vibrational energy. You know, the breath is structured to instruct us in the how-tos of this. Let's inhale through the noses, fill lungs deeply and fully. Hold the breath, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Anybody getting to the point where you're going to have to exhale? Of course. You have to release the breath. You have to surrender your resistance to the dysfunctions of the physical dimension. What did you just do by holding your breath so long? You proved the inherent weakness of resistance. By intensifying resistance, we're putting it to the test. We're going to prove, well, yeah, we can do a great job of resisting, but only for so long. Resistance is finite. It's associated with the physical dimension. And indeed, we'll understand now that the physical dimension requires resistance towards stressors that you want to not create. How about that? If I'm going to take a step from this place to this place, I just invoke the law of creative resistance by moving from one place and saying, well, I don't want to be there anymore. I'm going to resist staying in that place of stasis. I'm going to move over here. Now I decide I'm going to move back. Well, I resisted staying in a new place, and again I changed my stasis, my point of balance. my point of perspective, and I have a brand new perspective now. Well, that's resistance, and that's required of me to inhabit the plane of the physical with its finite energies, its limited energies. In order now to go up to a higher vibration, what do I need to do? Instead of resisting, I'm going to use the word love, as in God is love. God is love, and only love. But where are we headed with this new place of understanding? Well, God is the creator of everything, and God is the creator of all energies, and God then is the creator of all energetic feelings, even those that we might choose to not feel. Now, our human physical mind says, if I don't want to feel something, I need to resist that which I don't want to feel. Just as if I don't want to stand here, I need to resist being here in order to move here. If I want to be in power, the mind says, well, I need to resist the feeling of weakness. But now we're in trouble. Now we're in trouble. If we're going to resist low vibrational energy that we might associate with weakness, we fall under the hegemony of the law of creative resistance, and we're going to end up being weak. I'm going to invite you to think of yourself at a point in time where you felt weak. Have you ever been sick? Did you feel weak? Did you want to not feel weak? Did you want to not be ill? Did you resist the feeling of weakness when you were ill? Well, yeah, of course you did. It's human nature. Think now of a time when you felt sad. Did you choose to not feel sad? And you think, if I will to feel happy, I'm going to be able to shift out of the dysfunction of sadness simply by willing that I be happy. But you're not feeling happy. So we got a problem here. We got an energetic disconnect. We're practicing judgmental love toward our feeling energies. Do you know what happens when we do that? We lock up those energies inside us, and then we're going to carry them around inside us in the form of tightness and tension.
So you shouldn't resist?
Well, you should resist feelings if you want more of those feelings that you're resisting. If you want to feel weak, then resist the feeling of weakness, and I can assure you, you're going to end up feeling weaker. If you really want to be weak, resist your weakness. You will feel weaker. You're created in God's perfect image, and God is love and only love, and if you want to feel stronger, then you need to practice unconditional love toward all of your feelings, including, when you feel weak, love the weakness. And when you feel sad, now, you have a choice. You can resist the sadness as though it were something of a physical nature, and by resisting that sadness, you're going to end up feeling sadder, or at least not very happy. And that's the state of the human family right now, isn't it? Because we're locked up in sadness, because we've been trying so hard to be happy 24/7 that we forgot to be loving toward our sadness. So the sadness is stuck. Everything is energy. If you're going to resist the feeling energy, you're going to lock it up and carry around the records of that resistance. And then what happens? The love can't get in. Love is high vibrational energy. I've got a story for you. I was about 10 years old, and one day my mother said to me that she had a plan. She says, today, my son, my sweet, or whatever she called me, I'm going to wash the kitchen windows. And I said to her, why? They're dirty, she said. What I actually said to her, you know, Mom, I kind of like dirty windows. I don't know why you'd want to waste your time washing the windows. I don't know the difference between a clean window and a dirty window. Why don't you save your time and rest once in a while? Why do you have to be working every single minute? That's what I said to her. She said, there's something you don't understand. And I said, well, what is that? She said, as the windows become dirtier, the kitchen becomes darker. And I might have been scratching my head, something like that, because I didn't understand. I said, what are you talking about? She said, well, think of it this way. The light, when the sun shines, there's sunbeams, right? Yeah, okay, I'll follow you. Okay, sunlight, sunbeams. She says they're going to come down to the earth. And she says if the window is clean, they can flow through the window and lighten and brighten the kitchen. But if there's dirt on the window, this light from the sun can't get through the dirty windows. And I said, oh, okay, now you're good. Now I know why you want to wash the kitchen windows. Now suppose that you have a bunch of windows. You do. You heard the word reflex? A reflex is a window. You know what comes through that window? Fuel for your generator. Remember? I invited you to think of a chakra as an 8-cylinder engine, and sometimes the fuel lines get clogged. Sometimes those windows get dirty. And then the high vibrational love energy from the sun can't flow through, and then you're going to feel weak because your chakra is disconnected. What happens to an engine if the fuel lines are clogged? Engine isn't going to work. Makes sense, doesn't it? You got to have unclogged fuel lines if you want your engine to work. And so if you want your chakras clean, you got to figure out how to get the tension out of the recharging reflexive windows to charge up your chakra. And then what happens? You're going to have more energy. This is your power chakra. Take your right hand and place it over your lower abdomen. And take your left hand and put it in the same respective place on the back side. Power chakra, in between there. It's like a big cave or cavern. And how many fuel lines do you think you've got into that? Well, how many fingers do you have? You got a lot, but let's just say you have 4, plus 4, plus 2, so we got 10 so far, plus 4, plus 4, that's 16, 17, 18, plus you got some windows coming down, got some windows coming up, inside, you know, because you got meridians, you have energy lines flowing down through your body. Some are, the yangs go down, the yins go up. So you got a bunch more coming up through you and going down. And so you got a lot of recharging windows. So if some are clogged, you're still going to function. Except you're not going to feel all that much energy. You're going to start feeling weaker the more tension is clogging up your various recharge windows into the power chakra. What's this chakra now? What does this represent? When this chakra is open, that is when the fuel lines are unclogged, what's the feeling that you're going to have? Here it's power, here it's joy. Here's your joy chakra. Stick your 8 fingers right in under the rib cage. Here's your joy chakra. Anybody want to be happier? And think of something that makes you sad. Got something? Somebody ever get sick? Anybody worried about the current state of the financial world? Anybody worried about losing a job? Well, there you go. Are you going to be sad?
To be honest with you, I've been thinking about it in a very positive way.
Well, okay.
Something better is going to happen.
Well, good for you. But let's say that But yeah, let's say that your fuel lines are clogged here. Let's say that these points are tight, tender, even painful. Sometimes when you stick your finger pads up in here, you're going to feel pain. Anybody feel pain when you do that? You've got dirty windows. Because you know what? When you stick your fingers here, you should be able to, when you take a good deep inhale, and then open your mouth and exhale and relax and start leaning down onto the fingers. This should all be soft. You should be able to dig those fingers in deep under your rib cage.
Okay, and if you're not able to do
If you're not able to do that, you're down on your joy. In other words, you could be experiencing even more joy when you lose your job. And when you look forward to the prospect of applying the principle that you already know, because you already expressed it. I'm just going to put it in a slightly different language here. Every apparent adversity, like losing your job, holds the potential for an even greater opportunity, providing that you believe the principle. So far we're talking about the mental, though. And you got to be able to feel the joy so that you can bring it through. I've already brought through the greater benefit. I already know that it's there. All I need to do is do this and that, following spirit, and when I walk the talk, that greater new opportunity is just going to manifest because I've already created it. But you got to think it and feel it. It's a combination of things. And in order to be open energetically to the infinite power of God, i.e. sun, stars, universe, we need to do some window cleaning, don't we?
Is this an exercise to feel joy?
Yeah, it is. It's an exercise that in which, you know, when people come and have sessions with me, I teach you what to do on a daily basis. You'll come to me and say, well, you're going to fix me, aren't you? Because you're a healer, aren't you? Oh, yeah, call me a healer. Yeah, I'm worthy of being called a healer. I practiced for 32 years and over 60,000 hours, and people get amazing results with my work. So fine, I love being called a healer, but I'm not really. God heals. But we are created in God's image, and so there are certain things we need to do, and I want to teach you what to do every single day, and especially not only when you lose your job, but when you're a little bit down on your luck, or when you're a little bit worried about something, or when somebody says something disrespectful to you, or you stub your toe and you almost collapse on the concrete, except you just barely slip by that one. Or you see somebody else doing the same thing and you're thinking, oh, that could have been me. Maybe in 50 years that will be me. Oh my God, forbid. What do we want to learn here? God is love and only love. Now, not all religions teach this. I can think of a religion or two that teaches that God is love and God isn't always loving. Well, how are you going to account for that aspect of the creation that's not so loving? Is there really an adversary to God? Well, some religions would say yes. I don't believe it. I think it's all energy. I think there's only one creator. There's only one principle operative in the universe, and that's love. But sometimes love gets frozen. Sometimes the energies of love become densified, and then it doesn't manifest as what we know as high vibrational love. Then it manifests as low energy, down on joy, down on our own attitudinal love, down on our own sense of balance, harmony, down on our own intuition, down on our enthusiasm, and we can't remember why, because we can't remember how we created the resistances. So what is natural healing at its very best? Remembering what we had previously chosen to forget, so that we can apply the principles of loving non-resistance when the old energies of dysfunction are coming up and out, and we feel weak instead of strong, when we feel sad instead of happy, when we feel afraid instead of loving, when we feel angry instead of balanced, peaceful, and harmonious, when we feel pain, the ultimate feeling that finds us all sooner or later is that we would choose to not feel, not love, is pain. You know what happens when we choose to love pain? we're headed up to the top chakra, which is unmitigated enthusiasm with intuition, balance, peace and harmony, love, joy, power, and remembering all the stuff. I'm going to stop and see if anybody has any questions, because we've covered a lot of ground, a lot of material. Only 2 minutes left.
Can we do an exercise?
Oh, sure.
That's what helps in the board.
All right. Now I'm going to have you stand up and allow me to be the band director here. And if my hands goes up, then you're going to inhale. Oh, could you move aside so he can, so the camera can be in the middle? So if my arm goes up, then we're going to inhale. If my arm goes down, we're going to exhale. And we're going to have a scale of 0 to 10, right? And we're going to inhale to fill lungs deeply and fully. Go ahead and do it. Fill those lungs deeply and fully. And then open your mouth and exhale to relax, like a gentle autumn leaf falling to the ground. And we don't have a long enough scale, though. You know why? Because after the end of that normal exhale, you still have a lot of air left in your lungs. It's called residual air. So we're going to have to expand our scale to a -5. Did you get all the air out? Nope. You still got a bunch more residual air. So now you still have a lot of air left, but not as much air as you did have. You've just released a lot of... What happens when you give something away? If it belongs to you, it's going to come back. So when you, after you exhale, then what do you have to do? As day follows night, you've got to inhale. Fill your lungs deeply and fully. Now, what do you think would happen now if you were to hold your breath and resist the inclination to exhale quickly? As in 1, 2, 3, I'm holding my breath now. Well, I'm going to intensify resistance. That's what honors the physical principle of resistance towards stressors. And as I'm holding my breath, I'm going to think of something inside me. What do you want to bring into a healing focus? Okay, so as you hold both hands here, and press into the points that are tight and tender and painful and tense, and then let everybody do the same. Find any spot where you've got some tightness or tension or discomfort, and now let's breathe the breath of unconditional love. First step, inhale through the nose, fill lungs deeply and fully. Second step, hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Press in there and feel that pain. Feel that discomfort. Love the pain and love the discomfort. And when it hurts, really great. Open your mouths. Exhale and relax. And now add some extra exhaling breath, sounding as the gentle wind. And pretend you're exhaling out from your cells.
So pressing or not pressing?
Well, you can be pressing. Why would you want to pretend that you're exhaling out from yourself? It's going to expand your consciousness of your definition of who you are. You're not a finite being. Spiritually, you're infinite. Who's enjoying 100% the company you keep? Everybody's got perfect friends? Anybody have somebody that you'd like to improve? Can you think of anybody you'd like to change if you had the genie-like power?
I certainly can.
Okay. Everybody?
Sure.
How would you like to have a new set of companions that are perfect? Would you? How about the sun and the moon? Are they perfect? The sun has infinite power. Do you know the sun is as the face of God? So is every star. So is every light. How big is the sun? How many Earths would fit inside the sun? 1 million. 1 million. That's why it's been burning for over 4.5 billion years. Because the sun's got infinite power. Or, well, it will have for about 10 billion years total. So it's a young middle-ager. It's got a long way to go. It's got a long stretch to go in its life. Would you like to hang out with the sun instead of some dysfunctional friend? I'm going to teach you how to do that. But what do you have to do in order to make room for the love of the sun that wants to flow into you? You've got to understand and honor and follow and practice a spiritual principle, and here it is. As you give, fill it in, what? So shall you receive. That's the only thing you have to really know and practice and master in order to hang out with this new set of celestial friends, the sun and the moon. So one of the basic things that I like to teach, we're going to inhale high vibrational love energy from the sun, but then we have to give it away. Why don't we give it away to the poor dark moon? It's only, how big is the moon? If the sun would hold 1,000,000 Earths, how, what's the size of the moon in relation to the Earth? 1/4. 1/4. The moon is 1/4 the size of the Earth. Well, what does that mean? That means that the sun is 4 million times bigger than the Earth. Don't you think does the moon generate its own light? No, it's like you. You don't either. I don't think you do either. I know for sure I don't. I pull all my energy from the sun, except for a teensy % that comes from other stars. And so if we're going to pull in high vibrational love flowing on streams of light from the sun, what do we have to do? Give it away to our poor brother, the moon. It's in the same boat as we are. So that's where we're going to ground. You want to sit down, or are you happy standing up? Either way, it doesn't matter to me. But grounding, you know, we're an electromagnetic system. And what do we have to do in order to function as we were designed to? We have to know how to ground. We only have 5 minutes left. Otherwise, I'd love to invite you to take off your shoes and we do some grounding exercises. But I've got to get in a little sales spiel, too. Does anybody here have a healing need and you're sick and tired of it and you really like to shift out of it and you'd like to replace function with dysfunction? I would love to have you come and get on my table, okay? And I'm down in booth number 415 on the second floor in the grand ballroom. 415. Now let's have a closing circle because it just gave me the 5-minute sign and that was 2 minutes ago. So come on up and right hand down, left hand up. Right hand down and left hand up.
Is that the way?
That's it. Now squeeze gently the loving hand of a person on your right and send them loving energies. And those energies are going around and around the circle. Now with your head, go like this. Those energies are going around and around the circle. And guess what? You send them out from your right hand, they're going to come back into your left hand. And if you send them out from the right side of your body, they're going to come back into the left side of your body. Can anybody feel some vibration growing? Now release the pressure of the hand on your right and squeeze a bit the hand of the person on your left. And let's change the polarity. Let's change the direction of that energetic flow. And now go with the opposite direction with your neck. Round and round and round the sacred circle goes the high vibrational love energy of the infinite God Creator. Anybody feel it coming in the right side? How about that? How many people feel it? Well, you know, everybody is feeling it. Maybe you're aware that you're feeling it, maybe not. Now release that hand and squeeze a little gently with both hands. Send it around in both directions. Oh, is your head confused now? You don't know which way to go? Well, go a little bit that way, go a little bit that way. And now you're going to be sending it out from both sides and breathing it back into both sides. And now, hi, I love you. and release your hands, and then do the hokey pokey. In other words, straighten your spine and do some rotations of your shoulders, your neck, your spinal vertebrae, your neck vertebrae, your hips, and get funky, because guess what? We're at a party. Life is a party. Yeah, we're here to play. We're here, life is a party, life is a journey. I kind of like the thought of the party, you know, because it's playtime. We take this business a little too seriously sometimes, and that's why we're locked up. Well, it seems to be. Now, I'll be 70 shortly, and I'm looking for another between 50 and 100 more years. So I plan to continue coming to New York City for quite a long time. I don't live, you'll see that I live in the Midwest north of Chicago, but I come to New York 5 times a year for 2 or 3 weeks, because I have a large and growing group of lovely people whom I call my client friends. And I'll come for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and actually I spend about 3 months a year here, not all contiguously, broken up. I was here in January, here in March, here in June, here in October. I'll be back in December. That's 5 times. Times 2 or 3 weeks, that's a lot of weeks. So consider me a New Yorker. I'm also a Chicago person, and a Minneapolis person, and a Milwaukee person, and a San Francisco person, and Philadelphia person, and an Atlanta person, and a Raleigh person, and anyway, I'm an itinerant healer and teacher. But what I'm working on a 5-year plan, and from age 70 to 75, it's time for to diffuse this information about the breath of unconditional love and the sun-moon integration, and teach this so that you can become your own healer, and then you can teach other people, and you can know it and integrate it and get really good at it, and then you can teach other people, and so can you. And I'm not going to be the healer anymore. I'm going to be the facilitator, and so are you. And I'm going to have lots of friends, and as the years go by and we get younger biologically and psychologically and start acting and playing as children, we can have bigger parties, have more fun. Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Love ya.
I had never written a book. It was challenging, the first one.
Because he wanted to be in the place of love.
Somebody came up with the idea.
And he was 100% accurate in his prediction.
Selenium, iodine, or calcium. You don't have to know any of that stuff. All you have to be able to do is chew.